Time for some butter tea. 你好。嗨。
请进。
哎，谢谢。
这个给老师。
这里。哎，这边。哎，你好。来。在那边坐吗？在这边。I've very kindly been invited into a Tibetan house. We're still in Shangri-La, but I was feeling a bit cold outside, so saw the fire coming out of the top. Thought, come in here and try the famous buttered tea milk. Buttered milk tea even. Sorry, try that.
说什么？酥油茶。酥油茶。
酥油茶。怎么说？
酥油茶。
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 Give it a go. Oh, that's warm, and probably something you should come and try yourself. It's got a very specific flavour. 谢谢。你也有吗？
这是这里。哎呀。
Look at that. We've got the whole family here. They're all going to teach me how to do this. 1400 or so years ago, Tibetans got into the habit of drinking black pu'er tea. It quickly caught on because they found it helped digest the meat and milk that constituted what was a pretty heavy diet. They often mixed the fermented pu'er tea leaves with yak butter, creating a salty, rich liquid. So now we know one reason for the popularity of the tea and horse trail: the Tibetans' thirst for tea. The father tells me he drinks on average 6 or 7 cups a day. It takes, as you can see, a lot of effort just to make that little cup of tea over there, so I'm going to probably have to drink a bit more, which is fine because I made it myself. 现在我现在倒在这里。这个呢？艺术这。I don't think I'll ever forget the generous and heartwarming welcome I received from the Tibetan family. The whole family lived together on the farm and raise cattle and grow barley. I discovered later, though, that the father himself worked on the tea and horse trail years ago. In fact, most of the older men in these parts have earned a living in one way or another from the trade route. I'm delighted to have had an actual taste of Tibetan culture. I don't think they need to try mine. So let's see what a Mark special Tibetan tea tastes like. Come on, Mark, you can do this. Yeah. Little less butter. Still very. It does actually want. Second time round, I was being a bit unfair over there. Cheers. Here in the Shangri-La outdoors, surrounded by animals, I really don't feel like I'm in China. I feel like maybe this is Germany or Switzerland or something. I've made a lot of good new friends today, so we're very good. Sad to see them leave, huh? Let's go, let's go. It's our second day on the road of this wonderful Chamaguda adventure. We've already had a few casualties, unfortunately, last night due to the altitude. 4 people apparently have been starting to feel slightly ill. and in these circumstances we need to slow them up straight away and they need to rest. But we've headed on, had a good bit of breakfast all morning, and now winding through the hills in what seems to be, actually, we're about over 3,500 meters high, and feels like we're heading up towards the clouds.
Today, our first stop is the Napa High Nature Reserve, the largest area of grassland in the region. It's also where the rare black-necked cranes, of which only 6,000 remain in the world, come to winter. Apparently, in the past, other visitors have been here too, as the Magwo-tos used to bring their horses here to feed and rest.
Time to get on a horse. Stuff like this really annoys me. We're in a place of immense beauty. I mean, immense beauty, and it's not like they get people around here coming to clean up every week, so we really should be careful about throwing stuff. But that said, have a look at where we are. Just look at this. It is absolutely breathtaking. And not just because we're at 4,250 meters, because obviously that does take away the breath as well, but just the sheer beauty of it. I just spent the last 30 minutes just taking pictures and using my video camera. It's amazing.
太震撼了。
希望大家都到这里来，这是茶马古道。
I guess we all have our own idea of what paradise is like. But I'm sure few people would disagree that there's something quite enchanting about the tranquility and untouched beauty here. Next stop, the Pagoda Forest, a fantastic place to see the famous Meili Holy Mountain. And I can also burn some juniper incense, which Tibetans believe bring luck and prosperity.
So, what I actually do is I put the leaves in here and make a wish.
I prayed for a safe journey.
Whew. So I'm here in this wonderful little sort of tower on the edge of a mountain that's filled with Buddhist scriptures that are put up here essentially to bring luck to travellers, so that the wind passes through and brings luck. And over there we can see the Meili Mountains.
Everywhere you go in Tibetan inhabited areas, you'll see the bright prayer flags. The 5 colours correspond to different elements: earth, water, fire, cloud and sky. As someone with a fascination with borders, Deqing was for me a great place to come. There's Sichuan to the east, Tibet to the west, and Myanmar to the southwest. There's plenty of atmosphere, mainly thanks to the busy main road that dissects it. Deqing was probably best known for its many inns, where weary Magwo-tos could take some well-deserved rest. Although a dozen ethnic groups call Deqing home, the county is 80% Tibetan, which creates a real cultural melting pot. Over 1,000 years ago, the area was one of the main hubs of activity on the tea and horse trail.
Can you see that? Have you got as good a view as I have?
The Mingyong Glacier is probably one of the most beautiful and awe-inspiring sights I've ever seen. At first, it looks like a river on the side of a mountain. It runs from a height of 5,500 meters above sea level, all the way down to 2,700 meters. That's only 800 meters above the Lansang River. It's one of the lowest altitude and lowest longitude glaciers in the world. Sadly though, this zigzagging ice dragon is now retreating 50 meters a year. At the foot of the Mignon Glacier, I find myself in the south of France. If you've read Lost Horizon, you'll know that the monks ate berries to maintain their health and stay young. The French missionaries who came here 100 years or so ago appear to have had a similar idea as they planted grapes from which they naturally made wine. The vines were brought all the way from France to this region, where almost every family started making its own wine. Who would imagine that in such a remote Chinese village you'd find people drinking French wine every day? There are 5 major activities planned for the whole group during our tea and horse trail adventure. So now, it's game time!
Okay, we're playing a quick game now. What we've got five different glasses with wine and non-wines inside, okay? 3 of them have been grown locally. Only 1 of them is over a year old. We have to find which one that is. Let's go and have a look.
The group are taking their tasting very seriously, although some of the tasting methods do seem a little unorthodox. And the more they drink, the more confused they become.
You want to try?
This is where I swoop in with my highly refined palate.
It's not number 5. 4 is too light because the wines here, I've been told, are much darker. So that's an insider's tip. 3 actually tastes all right. 1 or 3. It's probably 2, but I think it's 1 or 3, and I'm going to go. 4号
I was right, it's wine number 3. There's a prize for the winner. A glass of fine wine bottled just 10 days ago.
Maybe I am French after all.
看到了梅里雪山，然后走到这个地方来喝这个葡萄酒，觉得简直是太美好了。
云彩离我都很近，好像是在云彩里喝酒的感觉。
这边的酒有一股古朴的感觉，特别淳朴，就像这边的人民一样。
Everything is different, and drunk is the wine is different, really different. You want to try? Come here.
The Meili Holy Mountain has 13 peaks that are over 6,000 meters. The highest is Kawa Gerbor, which means the god of the snow mountain. Legend has it that the peak is the incarnation of a Tibetan god who helped drive away an evil spirit. Kawa Gerbor remains unconquered to this day, but at least we were lucky enough to see the top.
Do you want to see what red salt looks like? Or even spend an afternoon singing hymns in the only Christian church in Tibet? Well, make sure you tune in to part 2 of our adventure on the Tea and Horse Trail.